Hello, Leo. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, The Light Seer's Tarot by Chris Ann. Yep. Okay. Supportive Oracle cards, The Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Like, your energy's popping off already, so are you just trying to take something with a grain of salt? Like, are you trying to just see something optimistically? Are you trying to be optimistic and just kind of like, no, I don't want this to be an issue, so I'm going to do my best to just roll with it? It kind of feels like an optimistic energy, but it's kind of like you've decided, like, I don't want issues. I just don't want them. So this is going to be a good one, and I've decided it will be a good one. It seems like you have that very strong energy about you. Like, before I even put down the cards, that's what I was getting. Kind of like, this is going to go well, because I've decided it's going to. I've decided this will go well, and that's all there is to it. So going into it, you got the Turkey and the Hierophant. The Hierophant, very much, that's a very earth energy. That's kind of like, I'm setting up some rules here. This is what's going to happen. It's almost like, literally, because I'm getting the Turkey. Like, Turkey, and in the United States, we got Thanksgiving coming, which is a big Turkey Day thing. But it's either way, it doesn't matter if you are or aren't in the United States. It doesn't matter. If you're going towards anything where there's an event, or you're going to have to deal with somebody else or other people, for most of you, it's like a group of people. You're looking at the situation like, okay, this could be a disaster, but I've decided it won't be. And you're setting up parameters, like this is going to happen here, that's going to stay there. I'm not going to let this person near that person. This is going to stay over like this. We will all get along. We will all enjoy ourselves. And I'm going to like put up these barriers and boundaries, and I'm going to make sure people adhere to them. I feel like for this situation, that's probably a good idea. I know it's subjective to your situation, but I feel like you're kind of like, no, we're going to have a good time, and this is how I'm going to make that happen. You're setting up rules, and you're like, they're your rules though, which when I feel rules for Leo, if you've decided on the rules and you're going to, or you've agreed with the rules and you've committed to enforcing those, that will happen. That's just how it is. It's funny because Leos typically, like, they can be a little random. I know that. But if you've decided, like, there's a couple other ones that, like, I'm thinking of Scorpio too for some reason, because it's like once they've decided, then that's it. They can also be very random, but they're in the same boat as you, kind of like when they've made up their mind and this is what's going to happen, well, that's what's going to happen. You've got the Nine of Cups with the Chameleon. You're setting out the boundaries. You're not playing any games with it. You're just like, well, this is how this is going to go. That's how these are the boundaries. I'll take care of that. You just keep your mind and your cans off of that. When it comes to bringing this person here, you just don't worry about that. I'm taking care of it. I'm working out those details. You're letting certain people know, like, stay in your section. I got the rest under control. Don't get in my way. It's cool. Thank you very much for doing that. And I respect you for doing that, but please stay in your boundary. And you're just being very forward about it. It's not mean. It's just flat out just to the point. Like, I'm going to handle this over here. Leave it to me. You stay over there. Thank you for doing that. And you're showing appreciation. I feel like you're easily saying, thank you for doing that, but stay regulated to this area. Cool. The Chameleon with the Nine of Cups is like, people seem to actually like this, but it's almost like they're not sure if they should, or the Chameleon's interesting because it can be something that it seems, you know what I mean? But even like when I'm thinking of a chameleon, like when you see it on a green leaf, it blends in, right? But you still know it's a chameleon if you actually see it. Like if you see it on the green leaf and you see the green color that it's turned, you know it's there. You know it's not actually a part of the leaf, but you know it's kind of going along for that moment. And I feel like this is some of this situation. Like you're watching this and you're like, all right, they're going along. They seem very much on board with this. But at the same time, you're like, yeah, I'm still keeping my eye on that because I know how that works. Maybe they'll stick to their situation. Maybe they'll stay regulated over there, but you know with how the randomness goes, and I'll just keep my eye there to make sure they stay there. There's conversation going on. The dragonfly, truth transcends illusion. That kind of gave me the chills. You know You also know, like, I'm not calling out anything before I need to, but I'll keep my eye on things. There's a lot of conversation back and forth with the King of Swords, a lot of, like, things being defined. Conversation is very strong with the King of Swords, but defining a situation can also be extremely strong in the sense of, like, these are the rules, they're not for negotiation. All right, we're going to keep going forward. I think we're good. Now, when this actually starts happening, I think this is going to go well. You got a lot of positive cards, but you got an interesting pair. You got the cat and the groundhog. The cat is very beautiful, like this beautiful red cat here with the white. Claim your independence. Let's go a little differently with that. I don't know about the independent thing. And the groundhog with time to let go. All right, so what I'm getting from these, the words are great, and if they fit for you, cool. Go where you gotta go with this. But I'm getting, like, the cat is very, like, seductive sometimes, and very, like my cat especially I'm thinking of right now. You could be doing whatever you're doing, or I could be doing whatever I'm doing, but the cat has decided he wants my attention, like you might have seen on some of these videos. He's going to get involved in things and check it out, and he's going to kind of slink in and slink out. He's going to see if he can get his paws into stuff or if he can't. But he's definitely defining his own situation. There's not much I can tell the cat to do. He's just going to do what he wants to do. And I'm feeling that energy with you, kind of like you're going to slink in and out of situations, kind of like I'll just kind of mosey on in here, see what's going on, and I'll mosey on out. Not really like, you're not making a big deal. You're not like, people see me. You're like, you're not looking for that, even though my cat does that sometimes too. But it's kind of like, I just want to kind of slip in, see what's going on. I'm happy with this. I'll kind of slip out. The groundhog is kind of like, I feel like this is something where, there's expectations. And there's kind of like, I have to hold things together. The groundhog, like, can scurry around quicker than people think. But I'm getting kind of like a home feel. I'm getting kind of like, all right, I got to do what's right. Sometimes I need to be seen for the right reasons. Sometimes I need to be not seen for the right reasons. And I feel that with groundhog. Like, it's like you have a very strong presence, but you also have control of that. If you've decided, I don't want to be noticed, you can do that. I do feel like Leo tends to want to be noticed, but if you've decided, I just want to, I want it to keep things quiet. I got other things I got to do. I just want to see. And the groundhog is kind of like, I'm doing what's best for the situation. I just want to see what's going on. I don't want to be noticed. You can do that. I think sometimes people don't realize that with Leo. They feel like if a Leo enters the room, everybody's going to know. And Leos do like to be recognized, that they like that attention. Yes, I totally get that. But for some reason, if you're like, no, not in this situation, I don't want to, you can be very stealthy. I feel like a lot of people miss that. Like, Leo can be stealthy. They can be. It's not like they're subject to their own energy and just like they can't enter a room without being noticed. I don't think so. That's not usually how it is. People might think that of Leos, but if you've decided, I just want to kind of skirt around and see what's going in, and you can do that. You can totally do that. And I feel like people don't expect that from you. The moth spirit. This is in the environment. Now, the moth is a weird one, because they usually have pretty colors, but their bodies and the way, sometimes their bodies are a little bit kind of creepy, like as to like in comparison to a butterfly. The butterflies are usually very small bodies, not really intimidating, but the way I interpret moth is like the bodies are usually so big and they just kind of look creepy. I don't know what to say about that. But it's kind of like there's a lot of good going on here, but a lot of this you're kind of watching, and I feel like you're kind of like, things are going well. People are making decisions. People are taking the initiative and doing what they want, but they are staying within their parameters. And it's kind of like things are going a little differently than I thought. I'd actually like them to go a different way than they are, but they're staying within the parameters, and my overall outcome is headed the way I want to, even though I'd like this to go a little differently. Like, a lot of times I use cooking analogies, so I'll do it again. Say they're making a cherry cheesecake, and you're like, well, I was really hoping for a Boston cream pie. But they are staying in the dessert. They're staying in the dessert category. They're staying there. That's what I want them to do. if I start saying, you know what, don't make that, make this instead, and I try to push that, it could upset the balance here. Because if I leave them alone, they stay where I want them to stay. And you know what? I think that's more important for me, for them to just stay where I want them to stay. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with the cherry cheesecake. I prefer the Boston cream, but it's fine. Because they're staying. And again, you're using this energy where I feel like people don't realize. I really do. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. But if you've decided you don't want to be seen, you won't be seen. It's just people don't seem to get that with Leo. If you've made that mind up, if you've decided it's best for me to not be seen, you won't be seen. And I'm getting you're doing that. And you're seeing this, and you're like, not really what I want. Still works. They're staying where I want them. Cool. Cool. It's fine. I'm just going to let that be. You've got the Empress with the Page of Pentacles. Empress especially is kind of like everything is working out. It may not be exactly the way I wanted it, but it all works together and everybody gets along. So I'm not going to change anything. You know what I mean? It's not exactly how I want it to play out. It's not exactly the food I'm looking for. It's not exactly the color scheme and all the other stuff. But you're like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter enough. The overall people getting together, having food, getting along, enjoying each other, and not being at each other's throats, that's what I'm looking for. So these details, it's not important enough to do anything about. The overall energy is working the way I want it to. And you're going forward slowly, and you're kind of keeping an eye on things, and you're like, every now and then somebody's going to start, like, you know, stretching outside their boundaries, and you're going to be like, hey, you, get back in there. Don't start with me. Get back in there. And I feel like you're going to tell them when you see, and it doesn't seem like it becomes an issue. You're like, hey, you know how you're supposed to stay in that boundary? Get back in there. Get over there. And I feel like it's cool. I don't see any big commotions about it. I really don't. Even if somebody gives you a little guff, it's handled quickly, privately, not an issue. Not worth saying something about beyond that. When this is all finished, because I feel like we're looking at our outcome here. You got this card, which I love this card, but it says, trust the great mystery, whale spirit. When I feel whale, it always comes, most of the time at least, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time it comes through with a very strong family feel. Like what's best for everybody. I feel whales are more of a family animal. Whatever. That's how it feels for me. So I'm getting like, this is all going well. There's only certain things that can happen here. It worked out the best it could have. When it's all said and done, you're very happy with it. And it feels like things have congealed more than they have in a while. I think this is very important because I feel like whatever the situation is, it doesn't always come together this well. It's more of a rarity. And the way you handled it and what you did with things, it did congeal very, very well. And you're very happy with your outcome. Very happy with it. There's a lot of talk about doing things again, repeating a situation, making things happen again, because people really enjoyed this event more than they're used to. I feel like this went better than normal. I really do. So when I'm feeling this coming to its fruition, if you will, if you want this to come around again, if you're in agreement with this happening again, because it seems like a rarity that it goes this well. It's remembering those boundaries. When I'm getting porcupine, a lot of times I get boundaries. I get like, you know, you don't approach a porcupine. If a porcupine doesn't want your attention, those quills go up. And usually they're a little bit toxic. So you're going to get poked and you could get sick. So it's kind of like the porcupine doesn't want your attention. It's not going to work. So I think a lot of times there's boundaries, but also realizing these boundaries are extremely important. Extremely important. Another event or another situation, which again in the U.S., Thanksgiving is in the end of November. Then there's other holidays at the end of December that also comes in. So there's like a repeat thing going on. Like there's something happens at the end of November, and I know that not everybody's in America, but I'm getting like whatever this event is. I'm just using that as an example. Something comes in fairly quickly, within a month or so after is what I'm getting. It could even be a New Year's thing. It could be something else. Maybe it was a birthday thing. Whatever resonates you. I feel like it doesn't matter. You'll know what that is. It seems like it's coming in very fast with the Eight of Wands. Very fast. the boundaries. Not only the boundaries, but how you handled those boundaries. I don't know if you might be able to. It's going to depend on your situation. If somebody has the strength and poise and restraint when necessary that you do, because with that cat and that groundhog, it just goes to prove you have the restraint and you are able to do it when necessary. You've decided that's what needs to happen, you will do it. That's how it goes. If you can find somebody with the strength and restraint and respect for the situation that you had, you might be able to hand this off to somebody else and teach them how to do it that way. More than likely, if you want this to come around again, it's coming in really fast, you're going to have to kind of take control of that. For some of you, I feel like that might not be an option. So what are you supposed to do with it if it's not an option? I feel like if you want this next situation to go well, pair in with that whoever's creating it. If it means enough to you that you also want it to go well, pair in with them. See if they'll let you kind of run the show a little bit, because it's kind of important. Because it's the boundaries. It's the respecting of boundaries. It's the not micromanaging things. It's like, again, like I know that was a baking thing, but I feel like it makes perfect sense. Like somebody makes a cherry cheesecake, but you preferred the Boston cream. But you're like, I'm not going to upset the apple cart over it. That could knock everything down. That little situation could cause a blow up, and that could bleed into other people. So I didn't do anything about it because it wasn't important enough. And like expressing that to the new person, kind of like you might want certain details, but if you force these details, you could knock over the whole house of cards, because it feels like this is like a house of cards. It's like delicate like that. That's the best I can give you, is like to see that, to decide what you want to do with it. If I don't know, again, I feel like it's a rarity for it to go this way. You can push forward that information. You can try to be a part of it, but whoever's creating the next situation, if they don't want to work with you, you're just going to have to watch it play out. I don't know what to say about that. There's only so much you can do. But I feel like if you further that information forward and try to further that information forward, it has a chance. I mean, you're Leo. I know you're Leo, but you're still human. So, unless y'all are able to jump a building in a single bound and all that other good stuff, because I didn't know. But, so, anything else? All right, I think we're good. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.